Hi folks, today I'm going to show you how to colorize a black and white image in Photoshop with just one click using a new or relatively new feature. And in the second part of the video I'm going to show you how to refine those changes, or if you don't have the latest version of Photoshop, how you might colorize a photograph using layer masks. So when we're looking at black and white images, the black and white images is a result of, as any images, the colour on the screen is a result of the pixels, the light coming from individual pixels. So each pixel is broken up into red, green and blue, and it's a combination of the light and the combination of red, green and blue which gives the colour. So if we've got grayscale, what that means is that the values of red, green and blue are equal on all the pixels, making it so they cancel out each other, so we have no visible colour showing. It's just grey from black to white. There's no actual colour. So let me just show you in Lightroom how it's difficult to explain, but there's still detail in there. And actually, when you're playing with black and white images, it is useful to look at the channels. Before shooting digital photography, I used to shoot a lot of black and white film, and I had a red filter on the camera. Now the red filter, what it does is it brightens up the red in the image. So in Lightroom, when we convert from colour to black and white, just using this up here, we find this black and white panel, and so we've got red and orange, and the red doesn't do too much, but it does affect some of the darker skin tones. But the orange particularly will brighten up skin, so the skin has a high orange value, which is halfway between the red and the green. So we can use this to brighten up the skin tones, so you can see the skin is brightening up, but nothing else is really changing. And we've also got some blue in the sky, so you can see the blue there. So if we go back to here, and then we can use the blue, and we can change the tone of that sky, brighten or darken it. So in a lot of presets, black and white presets, kind of the filmic ones, you might find there's a negative orange, which gives more kind of detail and texture in skin tones, and some presets which like to brighten skin up, then you'll find an increase positive in the orange here. So my black and white preset, I think, has a slight positive in the orange, so that's just a way of brightening skin up in a black and white photograph. So going back into Photoshop, for this photograph here, we've got a grayscale image. So the first thing we need to do, so I'm just going to convert it to colour now. So the first thing we need to do is make sure it's in a colour. So we go to image, we go to mode, and I'm going to choose RGB colour. Going back is Control and Z, or Command and Z, and that takes us to the previous state, which is just a grey. So if I go to image mode, RGB, so we've got these channels now. So now you can see that, as I explained before, it's a mixture of these different colour channels, which make up the image in black and white. So that's the first thing you need to do. You need to make sure you've got all the channels there for Photoshop to work with. Go into filter, and there's this one here at the top. It's called neural filters, which is relatively new, and a lot of it's still in beta, but there's some crazy stuff in there. And just with that, because it was my previous filter, it's changed it to black and white. So let me just show you the interface. So I'm going to hit Control and Z, go back. So it's neural filters, and this panel comes up on the right hand side. So we've got featured filters, and then this one here is beta filters. So these are all in testing. And most of them are just kind of one click, and there's not really much tweaking to be done on a few of them. Really worth having a little play with. But this is the one we're using today. It's Colourize, so I'm just going to turn that on, and it's making some calculations. It actually uses cloud based software to do the calculations rather than your computer, and it's done a decent job here of colorizing this black and white image. What we can see from there is that this dress is black, but there's some red here, so I'm not sure if that's correct. So it presumes a white balance, and there's also some yellowing going on the shirt here, and I'm not sure if this ear is quite correct as well, but we can fix those things now in Photoshop. So I'm just going to click OK. Go into my layers palette, and what you've seen here is this is what the neural filters have decided it can work out. So it's worked out these bits and it said, yeah, well, this is what I think these colours are going to be, and it's added those in. The rest of it couldn't work out, and it's just left those as they were. So part of this image still is actually in black and white. I'm just going to flatten that down. Flatten the image down. I'm just going to refine a few parts of this photograph. So what we've got here is the dress is black, but it's kind of got a reddy tint here. There's some yellowing on the shirt here, which shouldn't be, and on the corner of the jacket and the collar. I'm just looking up here on the guy's ear. I don't think the skin tone is correct on there either, so we're just going to fix those few things, and this is a bit more of a laborious process, but this is how to do it anyway. So it's how I do it. There's tons of ways to do anything in Photoshop. So we're going to create a color adjustment layer, and the first thing I'm going to do is just select the color. So I'm going to select this skin tone here by using the dropper. I'm going to go to OK. So that's our foreground color. I'm going to go to adjustment layer here. I'm going to go to solid color. OK, because that's the color we selected. I'm going to go to blend mode. So this is the blend mode drop down here. I'm going to go to color. So it's colored the whole image this color. But as you can see, it's taken into account the tones in the image as well, which is great. But we only want it on this part here. So this is our layer mask, but we don't want that to be white. We need that to be black. So I'm going to go to fill and fill. Make sure this is selected, and we're going to fill that black so we can't see it. We will only be able to see it once we start painting white on there. So I'm going to choose the brush. I'm going to make sure my foreground is white, and I'm just going to paint over that area here. So I've got the brush is a soft round brush, and I can change the size using the bracket keys, and then I'm just going to do this at 100% just so you can see what's going on. I'm just going to brush that in here. So this is brushing that skin tone onto the ear where it was missing before. And that is that. So we can add other layers on top of that and do the other colours. I'm just going to do one at a time. So I'm going to flatten this now. So to here, flatten image. That's that bit done. I'm going to work on this part of the collar. So again, I'm going to choose a colour here to match the rest of that. It's just an off-white. I'm going to create a solid colour layer mask. I'm going to make sure the mask is black, and then I'm going to paint white into that area. Oh, what I've done here is I've forgotten to change the blend mode to colour, so I can do that now. That's fine. I mean, you could even paint it all in first. Just make sure that is colour, and so as you can see, it's taken that tint out of the white shirt. And there we go, and that's how you would go about fixing those bits. We'd do the same for this area, because that's white. This might actually work on there too. Presuming the algorithm got this correct and the jacket is grey, which I have been reliably informed that is correct. So there we go. Not massively careful here at the moment, but this just so I can show you how to go about doing that. So and then just kind of scan around the image, and there's any other areas that need tweaking. Then you would do the same there. Let's get rid of that as well. Okay, double click the hand to go full screen, and then flatten that down. And then probably just the last bit for this one, I would just tweak this colour here. So I'm going to choose this dark here. It's on the greeny side, but let's see how that looks. I'm going to create a colour, solid colour. Okay, change that to colour. I'm going to make sure my mask is black, and I'm going to paint white onto the mask to show through the colour underneath. I'll just do this very roughly so you can see the effect. Okay, so there we go. So now that that's done, I'm just going to flatten it down. And that's us. So that's the finished photograph, and that's how to colorize an old black and white image in just a few clicks using neural filters and layer